An annual reoccurring problem that affects high school sports nationwide and in the metro area is among us. Here in Lincoln, Nebraska, the Nebraska School Activities Association are hustling to find ways to solve this problem. The problem is the shortage of officials. John Dolliver, the Assistant Director and Supervisor of Officials, goes into great detail about the NSAA and how they are working diligently to solve this issue.
Yeah, so I've been the assistant director with the Nebraska School Activities Association for the last 11 years. One of the things that we've kind of had on our radar over those last 11 years is officials and a shortage that was something that we could see coming, something that we've tried to prevent, but ultimately it's here. And I had somebody ask me the other day, have you guys hit the alarm button, and is it to that point? And I would say yes. You know, we really have seen a shortage in all of our activities. It was something that in certain activities in certain areas of the state we had seen happening before this year, but this year, for instance, football games, you see a lot more football games being played on a Thursday night, volleyball matches being played at odd times on Monday nights, on Wednesday nights. And so again, it's something that this is a Nebraska issue, but it's also an issue that everybody across the country is facing. So while it is our issue that we deal with here in Nebraska, it is something that a lot of our neighboring states and states across the country are also dealing with. We have some things in play to maybe entice people to be officials. We're going to hopefully implement those next year. We felt like this year was a little too far down the road to try to implement some things, but implement people, maybe some discounts for people as a first year official. And then we find a lot where we get people to start officiating and then they do it for 1 year and they're done. Our challenge is to get them to come back the second year and officiate again. And so we have some plans in place. Our hope is that helps with that. You know, doing things like this where I'm talking about the officiating shortage, you know, we've got a lot of help wanted signs out. And so I think the more we talk about it, the more that our schools are out there understanding that, hey, maybe there's somebody in our community that should be an official, and I'm going to talk to them about working our junior high stuff, and then talk to those people that are working the junior high and the JV stuff that don't register with us, getting them registered so that they can officiate those games on Thursday, Friday nights. And you know, as a whole, the state of Nebraska, with our small communities and our large communities, finding those people that are willing and wanting to do something to give back to the sport that, you know, they grew up playing or grew up watching and loving, and ultimately, I think we're going to be okay. It's a little scary right now because of the numbers that we have, but I feel like people will step up and help out across the state so that we can play games, you know, on Friday night instead of playing Thursday night football games or Monday night volleyball games.
The Nebraska School Activities Association is not the only association in the Nebraska area that also needs assistance to find officials. The Concord Basketball League, Iowa's Fieldhouse that holds basketball tournaments, and basketball tournaments held in Bellevue are some examples of AAU basketball having similar issues as the NSAA. Also, some of the officials that work these AAU tournaments are NSAA officials as well. I got the chance to speak with a couple of NSAA officials, Robert Brown Jr. and MK McGee, about a variety of topics that fall under the large umbrella of officiating.
When I put on the official uniform, it is a manager of the basketball game. But then also, I am the facilitator of the rules as far as communicating with the coaches, the players, and indirectly with the fans. And really, I got involved in officiating. It was to give back to the kids, and certainly my own kids, because as you play the game, if you know more of the rules of the game, you can play the game even better and whatnot. And then also you can teach the game better. And so that being said, certainly I wanted an opportunity to actually be out there with my children, and also the opportunity that someday maybe they want to take up this vocation and officiate, because officiating is out there, and due to the pandemic, a lot of officials decided to hang it up. And then also the sportsmanship side of it, due to the fact that I have seen and experienced where parents seem to go overboard at times because it's all about a win-win-win situation. And at the end of the day, is it's all about winning. And sometimes they put winning set on a high level that they don't really understand that what good sportsmanship is. And what that is respecting your opponent, respecting the competition that you are against. Because the old adage, in order to be the best, you have to go against the best. And you may not always win when you go against the best, but that's how you get better. And certainly with officiating, that is a key, and that you're only as good as your last game. But in all, we want to have a good experience in the game of competition, and that's the bottom line. Ultimately, that's the goal.
Well, I think kind of going back to the question that you just asked, what's it like being a female in a male dominated profession? There's maybe for some women, there's an intimidation factor. You're going to be competing with men who have predominantly been in the field. And I think part of the hurdle there is just realizing you could do it. It doesn't matter if you're a male or female. Males and females can both do this job. So you have to get over the cultural barriers that, we're still sort of working through to recognize that both men and women can do this job.
I agree to what you said to those cultural barriers. I think a lot of people are so accustomed to having, men officiate, whether it's basketball, football, or even female sports as well. But I think we need to start realizing that women officials or female officials need to become more or less of a rarity and more of a commodity.
I totally agree. And we're seeing that with the women who are officiating in the NFL and some of the women that are officiating on the men's side in the NBA and at the NCAA men's level. These are women who are demonstrating the fact that women can do that. They are given that opportunity because somebody believed in them. Somebody decided, you know what, they're just as good as the guys. That changes the cultural idea that it's different for men than it is for women. It's just that women need to be granted the same opportunities as the men.
What is some advice you would have for young officials like your daughter or like me that want to be aspiring NSAA official?
Yeah, definitely. That's such a great question. And it's important to me is somebody who's done this for a long time and wants to I want to work with good partners, so I have some skin in the game there to help people grow in with their skills and their abilities and so on. And so number one, I would say get in touch with and start to develop a group of people that can help you grow, find a mentor. That's really, really important to stay connected to other people who are doing this and have done it for longer than you so that you can get some support. If you stay in this, probably hands down, the best thing about officiating is the relationships that you're going to build. If you do it the right way, if you're professional, if you're humble, if you're, all of those things, the relationships are just absolutely phenomenal. I wouldn't trade those for the world. I mean, it's a tight-knit community. And, back then, which was a long time ago, there wasn't the opportunities that there are today to grow and learn. You were kind of more on your own back then. You have an opportunity to go out and spend time with people, get to know people. I've gotten to know people I probably never would have had the opportunity to get to know, and they're some of my best friends.
The NSAA is continuing to be adaptable and are looking to rebound and strike out this current social and sports issue. High school sports would not be the same without NSAA officials regulating the game. Speaking of NSAA officials, if you're looking to become one, go to NSAA.home.org, click on the officials tab, click new officials, pay the $50 fee, and follow the instructions from there. Here at the Nebraska School Activities Association in Lincoln, Nebraska, for BRDC 477 News, I'm Jaden Brown.